Hey, Sheila.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Is it
I'm
spring yet out where you are?
oh, sorry. No, it's going to be in the 20s the next couple of days.
Oh,
We
goodness.
might hit 40 on February 1st or February, sorry, April 1st. So you're getting this call or second. And I don't know, the lake is snow covered, fairly deep, and I don't know what the ice is doing under there, but it's been below freezing overnight, every
Yeah.
night.
No, I mean, out here, most of the days have been well above freezing. We'll be in the 40s almost every day this week. You know, below freezing at night, but yeah, the lakes are starting to thaw. I haven't seen any loons yet, but I think any day.
Yeah.
Not in Minnesota.
Wow.
It'll be in the teens for the next several nights.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
had it 1 degree the last several nights. It's been like 1 degree overnight.
Yeah, remind me where you are in Minnesota?
I'm about 3 hours. Well, I'm 3 hours north of the Twin Cities. Gail, you
Okay.
can, where are you?
I'm about 45 minutes north of the
Okay.
Twin Cities.
It's a big state.
Yeah. Well, I have exciting news though. So Dr. Walter Piper.
Oh, sure.
So he and I have communicated the last 2 or 3 years. I'd sent him my annual Loon survey report and everything. And I had tons of details in this last one based on, observational data with photographs. And I did, my husband helped me because this isn't my cup of tea, but data analytics of the Loon survey for all
Oh,
the
nice.
lakes on the chain and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
chain in general. So he's going to be banding the loons on my lake because I have so much data on them that he was impressed that without banding, collecting that much information. So we have 6 mated pairs on like about a 400-acre lake, and we'll be banding those pairs this summer. So I think you're frozen now, Mark.
Shut off here.
You got frozen for a bit.
Yeah, no, just as you were saying that Walter was going to come out and band, I got frozen. Yeah.
So he's going to do all 6 pairs on our lake on the chain, which is 400 acres about.
That's really nice. So he'll be out there in what, July?
I'm not sure, but it'll be done over the summer.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
I have a question though, because somebody asked me, or he said that he thought that loons were frequently injured when they were being captured for banding, and I have not heard that.
I don't think I've seen anything like that. In fact, just this morning, you know what an IACUC is, the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee forms?
I haven't heard of that.
Okay. I mean, for anybody who wants to work with live animals, whether it's laboratory mice or band loons or things like that, if you work for a state agency or a federal agency or a university or a nonprofit, you have to fill out a proposal saying exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And I was actually working on one this morning, and I reviewed, the one from BRI in Maine, and they were saying that they have banded about 6,000 loons at this point, and they have had 0 injuries during the banding process.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah. I had never heard that either. I mean, I think, maybe somebody who's just found a loon on a roadside or something and didn't know what they were doing might injure them, but
Yeah, I think for people who are, loons are big sturdy birds. I worry a little bit more about the chick. And
Yeah.
there's no question that you're stressing the birds when you're night lighting them and netting them and capturing them and banding them and those sorts of things. But in terms of injuries, I don't think I've ever heard of much documented. It's not like banding warblers, or things that are little and much more delicate.
Yeah. Well, that's reassuring to hear. So I can pass that on. If I
I'd
talk
be more
to that guy
worried.
again.
I'd be more worried about the person doing the banding.
Well, you're right. You have to be careful. It's a big, strong bird. It's got a big, sharp beak and it knows how to use it.
Yeah.
And I think, I see John Cooley's name is on here today, and Jay Magers is on there. And I think, anybody who's done this for years and years, either has seen people injured or has gotten, has scars of their own. Hopefully, little scars on fingers, but I do know one loon bander from years and years ago who had a saber scar on her cheek,
Wow.
where she took a shot from a loon. She wasn't restraining the head properly.
Wow. Well, thank you. That helps.
Yeah, no, I think, and I think a lot of the banders emphasize this. You don't want to go into this blind. I think you want to work with people who have done it before. Again, that's true whether you're banding loons or hummingbirds or bats or bald eagles or whatever it is. I mean, there's a lot of skill involved in the process, and there's a lot of things that are different from one species to another. And it's good to learn from people who have more experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, I've been in the background for a few minutes and then realized I was still being Gregor, so I had to change my name.
That's okay.
Sorry I'm late. I was deep into map work. I thought, oh, it's 4 o'clock. So my apologies for that. Is anybody interested in being the lead today, or do you just want me to move forward, folks?
My guess is nobody's going to jump at it, Kathy. So I think it's tag, you're it.
That's the normal around here.
It's the normal, and you did send around that agenda. So
I did, which is basically very, very vague. Is there any additions to the agenda?
I don't have any additions. I'm going to want to, have some chatting as we go through here a little bit, but that's normal.
That's normal. Okay. Well then, I guess we will just get to it then. Welcome everyone. We have 13 people on board. If there's anybody new who wants to introduce himself, feel free to speak out. But we'll leave that as it is, and you guys can all stay in the background if you prefer. Just go ahead and put your hands up if you'd like to introduce yourself. Next thing is we have general updates. Does anybody have any, other than that, if anybody wants to introduce themselves, just let us know. But does anybody have any general updates that they would like to share with us?
Well, one of the things, and I was going to ask the same thing in the next Zoom later on when we have the rescue and rehab group. But I'm just wondering, is anybody seeing any loons yet? I heard from the Minnesota people that their lakes are still iced in, but anybody having birds come back?
Well, I never see them, right? Because I'm a little bit inland. But I checked eBird on Friday and they were already in Ontario and they were already in interior BC.
Nice.
Which and I said, oh, is that unusual? So I had to look up the last decade's worth of eBird, and that's pretty much par for the course. Like they were just starting into both areas, which I thought was quite cool.
Nice.
Considering I still see them at the end of April and into May when I do my birdathon, some of them take their time coming back.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely in
Alright.
Ohio. I can tell you that. I just saw 4 on the reservoir right outside my house.
Did you,
yesterday.
Jay? That's cool.
Mhm.
And Jillian, I bet you've got them in Massachusetts because that water didn't even freeze.
Right. We had them, we were seeing them all winter too. I don't know who they were, but there were loons around.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to, once again, I think I mentioned this last time we met, but Laura is on the meeting again today, and I'd like to welcome Laura because she's now formally the Quebec Oiseau is a collaborating partner with Birds Canada to look at loons in Quebec. When we've done all our analysis, for some reason, we seem to have this area in Quebec that has better reproductive success, better survivorship, I guess is the word. And we don't know why. And so we're collaborating with Quebec Oiseau to hopefully get more loons monitored in Quebec so that we can have a better idea if that's just some kind of unusual impact of so few survey sites, or whether it's truly like that in Quebec, because I believe there's a genetic difference in the population. And we're pretty ambitious in our goals. We're hoping for another 80 pairs surveyed.
Cool.
So welcome, Laura. I'm so glad to have her on board on that project.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I'm really glad to join the project, and yeah, I'll do my best to get those 80 pairs of loons monitored this summer. So yeah, I'll try to contact as many potential partners as possible to get some people on board. Yeah,
That's exciting.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, Laura, I'm sure you're aware of this. I know years and years ago, talking to Dave Evers and the people at BRI, they had been doing some collaboration with the folks at Hydro-Quebec and looking at loons on some of their impoundments. I don't know where those data might be.
Okay, no, I didn't know actually.
They still have work done in one small area of Quebec, but I don't know how up to date it is. Like they have it on their website. I didn't think it was impoundment work though.
Yeah.
Would that have been some of the mercury work, Mark?
I think it probably was mercury work because the mercury was associated with the way that some of the lakes were impounded. And I remember I actually went to Montreal to meet with the Hydro-Quebec folks and Dave Evers at one point to see if we could pry loose some of their mercury data, but it was proprietary and we were not able to get it.
Okay. But is there like a partnership currently going on, or?
You know, Laura, I don't know the answer to that. And I'm looking, I don't think there's anybody from BRI on the call yet today. But Laura, if you want to get in touch with me, I can put you in touch with Dave Evers and Lucas Savoy and the people at BRI who run their Loon project. And I'm sure they'll be happy to share whatever they've got.
Okay, sure. That would be great.
Oh, Erica must have an update or something. Her hand's raised. Erica, over to you.
Yeah. Hey, I was looking to see if Natasha was in on the call, but I had been sharing a potential logo with her, and she kind of adjusted it so it doesn't have our Loon Watch or Sigurdos Environmental Institute on it. And I just wanted to share it and see if possibly this might be the logo that we want for our overarching logo. It's just a loon head, but I think I can share screen here. Here it is.
Oh, look at that.
I wanted to share that with you all. I was hoping Natasha, I didn't want to take away her thunder, but she made it so that it would be usable for our group without all the lettering below. So if you all are interested, I don't know if we want to have like a vote on that or see what else we can come up with. But that's an option for our group.
Also share. I was saying I could share what the logo would look like with text underneath.
Hey,
I
Natasha.
emailed everyone like 4 minutes before this because I'm just typical fashion running behind on things. But I could share those.
Yeah.
The option. Let me just. pull up the,
I really like that
Now-
sort of indigenous style.
Well, that was my first question. Is there an artist that we need to acknowledge for this? Because it is gorgeous and it is very, has a lot of indigeneity to it. So we
Yeah.
want to make sure that we are covering and ensuring that the appropriate artist is acknowledged with this. Oh, that looks so nice. I would put the text just a little bit bigger, I think.
okay, yeah, so I had two name options, the stewardship we've talked about, or Loon Citizen Science, if we kept it that way. And if we wanted a longer name of, if we wanted common Loon, I just figured for the purpose of the logo, less words and just calling it Loon. Either stewardship or citizen science or any other option, but that's a good point for increasing the text. And then Erica could probably speak to the origination of the image. I believe it was.
Yeah,
clip art.
it was one of our graphic designers. He's retired. He has since retired, but I don't remember his last name. His first name is Jerry. And I can find out his name and we can credit him for the design if you want to do that somehow.
Now, I have created a poll if you guys want me to try and share it, or we can think about it and maybe do a vote the next time. What do you guys feel is the most appropriate?
You talk about names, Kathy?
No, I have not. I'm just talking about the logo at this point.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Baby steps for the likes of me. Uh,
That's fine.
I was wondering if we wanted to use it for our overarching group, for all three groups, or just the Loon Citizen Science Working Group. Sure.
It's kind of nice to put us all under the same group, and then like you put that on, and then underneath say Loon Stewardship, Loon Research. Like you could easily curve two sets of text underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
could say common Loon working groups and underneath stewardship or citizen science, or I like that idea.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a good idea.
so what are our actions here? Share it with the other groups and see if they like it? Or do we want to vote here before we share?
I don't think there's any harm in sharing it with the other groups. If there's someone that doesn't like it, then we find that out right away instead of all of us getting our hearts set on it.
Okay, that sounds fair. Does anybody have any comments right now? I'm not seeing any raised hands, but
I don't know if we want to put all the group names on this together. It might be kind of busy and take away from the graphic, which is so
Okay.
amazing. We could
What I-
experiment and see what it looks like.
what I was envisioning is one larger title, and then underneath each group puts their own little title. So you'd have Common Loon Working Group, and then underneath you'd have one logo that says Citizen Science and another one that
Okay.
says.
Okay.
So you didn't mean all three subgroups,
Oh, that'd get really ugly.
right?
I agree
right.
with you on that.
This,
What
I am
reason-
just in awe. I am gobsmacked. This is amazing.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Any other
Good.
comments?
It's one of those things. I'm always torn between art and science. And so I look at this and Natasha and Erica, I don't mean this in any way to be critical, but the first thing I notice is the nostril's the wrong shape. Oh my gosh. I don't know that it matters to us, but yeah.
That's okay, I think.
Yeah.
Is it more elongated?
Oh yeah, it's very slit-like. Yeah, long and skinny.
Natasha, can you adjust it?
Okay, maybe I could try.
Could you
Okay, I
adjust it, or
could-
would you
Well,
be?
and wait, I mean, don't go with, I'm the world's worst art critic. Don't adjust it just because I'm being weird about this.
No, I like that idea. I like that we make it ours then, right?
Yeah,
Would the artist be at all upset by that, Erica?
No,
No. Okay, because that's a valid point. I've seen people walk up to bird. There's some naturalists who I will say have diplomacy isn't their strong suit, and I've seen them walk up to artists and say, "This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong." It's like, really, it's art. So
well, that's it. And that's why I wanted to couch it the way I did
Yeah.
I'm distracted by the science, but I don't want to impose that on the art.
Well, I can see if it's an easy adjustment, and then I can also do the 2 lines of text to pass around to the other groups. And should I use citizen science or stewardship for this group?
we're so bad. None of us can make up our minds.
I mean, for my job title, it's citizen science, but I'm not opposed to stewardship because I know that that's changing. So I am open to whatever
What
name the group would prefer.
What about citizen engagement?
Oh, I like that. Just to
Well,
complicate
throw
things
a
even more,
wrench in.
Kathy.
I think we need to have a vote with advance notice given before we change the name. I thought, I like Loon Stewardship, and I think that's what we had decided.
Yeah, this is Sheila. I thought we had agreed on loan stewardship and I really like it as well.
I don't think we should keep changing.
I honestly don't think we ever actually decided. I think it's the same thing. We've never put a vote to it. We just all kind of shake our heads and say we like that. So if people feel that they're in a place where they're ready to decide if they want stewardship, does somebody want to go the formal and make a motion that we vote on having Loon Stewardship Working Group as their title?
I'll move it.
Okay. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
All right. So how about everybody use their little thing and raise their hand. And if you can't raise your hand, just say yay or nay. And we'll see what we get here. Now I gotta raise my hand too. How do I do that?
I'm trying to.
I've raised my hand, but the screen went wonky.
That's okay. I think I'm tracking them here. Yours is up, Sheila.
Okay.
Does my hand look like it's raised? I'm trying to, but I can't tell.
Yeah, I can't find mine either while screen sharing, so my hand's raised.
Same. I'm
Okay.
trying to raise my hand and can't.
Maybe we're only allowed to have so many raised hands at a time. Oh, it's going up. We're up to 6.
That's weird. Why can't I do that?
I do not
Maybe
know.
we could just ask if anybody wants to continue the discussion
But
next
you know what
week. And if nobody answers, we'll know.
Oh my gosh, it's under reactions.
Yeah,
those of us who are
it is
struggling.
under reactions,
Yeah,
by
I
the
looked
way.
under reaction and mine is still not doing it. I don't know. Anyway,
Well, we know what you want, Mark.
Yeah, so
I just put it in the chat. Yeah.
all right, so Marcus Stewardship, Jen Stewardship, Mark, Natasha,
There we
2, 3, and we got 6 more there.
I got it.
7 Stewardship. Okay, you guys are making me work tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 6. And it looks like the 7 raised hands are the new people. The Jillian is 7, Sheila's 8, 9, 10.
Well, you've
Oh,
certainly got.
Mark hands finally up.
I finally,
Um,
yeah, I finally got it to work.
Okay, we need to have 8. I'm pretty sure we got 8.
But how do we decide a quorum?
A quorum? My belief with quorum when. Yeah.
I've never looked at the official bylaws, so.
We don't have official bylaws. Which um
Majority rules.
that's I'm inclined to say majority rules. And how many members do we have to this group? That I can look up.
Maybe
but a
this
lot of
needs
people
to go out
sorry.
to everyone. Maybe this needs to go out to everyone.
Okay, so we will
Yeah.
do that. And I could set up a little poll and so let's go backwards. Natasha will add appropriate text to logo and attempt to adjust nostrils. It might not look as good. Action.
So I'll have my screen shared. I have what that logo would look like on the fact sheet. And so
Oh, there you go.
this
That
case I
looks
put
nice.
I like
and I
that.
already use Loon Stewardship, so that would work if we
Yep.
officialized the name. But then I could keep it with the text common Loon working groups underneath, but then have this again the stewardship to the side, or just keep the logo of the Loon by itself, and then we use the logo with text for other things, if that makes sense. And then I was working on the editing one, so on the second page, I thought we could put distributed by to make it more clear that it's other organizations that would distribute it. And there are boxes here to customize. So I used our group as an example.
Mhm.
So there's a box to write in the name of the organization and then put a logo to the side. I think I'd actually would probably make this all italicized on this second page. I'd probably edit that to
Okay.
have distributed by be italicized as well. But that's an example of what it would look like. There's our logo without text. And so I figured if groups have just an image logo, that would look nice. And then there could be 2 options. So if an organization or I don't know if someone wanted to distribute it but didn't want to put their name on it or really feel the need to customize it, you could just have an option with the Loon Stewardship Working Group on both pages. So it could be either way. Then link with that, then it'll finally be ready to print.
Yay.
That's right next in the next section, Natasha.
Oh, good segue.
I don't know how many people work with those Adobe ones that you could fool with. So we may want to end up not only with the final PDF that people can adjust, but also with another one where you highlight things and comment to say you can change this and you can change this.
Yeah, I think since it's on, I have it open on email, it doesn't show boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can try if I share.
Maybe you could share the fact sheet with us and we can see who has problems with it.
Yeah, I could do that. Maybe I'm gonna try to share all my downloads here. It's lots of versions of the logo, but it's downloaded as a PDF. should be able to see the text box shows up, but the image box doesn't really show up that well. But when you click it, it's there, but can't figure out how to make that more visible. But when it's downloaded, you should be able to see, okay, this is where we fill out the information. And that should be all for the fact sheets, I think, unless there's any comments or anything.
Just thank you so much for laying that out so nicely.
No problem.
All right, so action so far, Natasha will fix up the logo. I will send a poll out to the members to vote on official name change. If that is approved, after the poll, we'll share the logo with the working group. Who wants to take the lead on that? Mark, I'm thinking you, since I think you're on all the working groups, aren't you?
I think I am. I think Jay is. John Cooley, I think is too. So you got several of us. Natasha probably is. Yeah, no, I'd be happy to share that around if you want to send it to me.
Okay, now Jillian and Jen still have their hand up. Is that because of the unsuccessful voting technique, or is that something you'd like to share?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure you got it. I will lower my hand.
How about you, Jillian? If you're trying to talk, Jillian, you're on mute.
I'm sending her a message on chat just to see.
Okay, that sounds good. She may have had to step away for a minute. Oh, hands down. All right. All right, if we're good on that one, Jay, do we have anything to share or anything you want to remind people of about the decision tree? You're probably no doubt still want to remind people for photos.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. I think that's the one thing. Photos of successful and unsuccessful nests, and if you know the reason for the nest failure. There was a sort of a smaller working group that we were getting together, and we were meeting every other week until I had to run out of town for a couple of weeks. But I'll try to get that group back together. I guess the next thing I'd like to try to do is to see if I can get a good representative group of sort of networks that would be willing to get, say 5 to 10 volunteers this summer to try using the key or the decision tree and seeing how successful they are. And maybe I can make a pitch, last ditch pitch at next month's meeting. But the current decision tree is up on our shared Moodle drive. So again, if anybody has any input on that, I'd greatly appreciate it. I don't know if there's anything else to say at this point, but thanks.
Sorry, I'm typing.
Jay, this is Sheila. When you say you need pictures of nests, do you mean vacant ones? I mean, I have pictures of loons on natural nests that I know were successful, but the loons on the nest.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't hurt, Sheila. I guess I'm looking for nests that the eggs have hatched and there's sort of telltales in the nest
Yeah.
that would indicate that they've hatched. And so if we don't have those now, this summer while you're out and you know that there's been a hatch, if you could go back and check that nest and take some pictures of it.
Sure.
Any information, that would sort of allow us to begin to really characterize successful hatches versus failures. And if we know the failures, we can sort of document those would be great.
Okay.
I can talk a little bit about the Nelswig meeting, but I gave a talk there trying to sort of see if there'd be at least, again, 5 to 10 groups of or organizations that wouldn't mind trying this out with volunteers. And also, for those of us who have participants that have either field cameras or video cameras of their nesting sites, and so they're able to document the actual causes of nest failures, I sure would appreciate any sort of help from them if they'd be willing to participate on that.
Okay, Jillian, your hand is up. Did you want to add something to any of the conversations we said?
Hi, this is John. I just want to, in case Jillian's not going to speak up, I just want to confirm and clarify, Jay, that the thought you have is for these groups of like 5 or 10 volunteers to put the decision tree or those kinds of materials into their hands, even as basically a pencil and paper set of materials that they could have with them as they were doing loon monitoring this summer. Is that right?
Yeah, if people are willing. I mean, it depends on if this group feels like it's at a point where we'd be willing to try it. Yes, would be more than happy to send this out to anyone interested. But again, I'd also, if people haven't taken a look at it and thought, maybe we should refine it more, I'm definitely open to just holding back on it too, John. I don't want to push anything on anybody, but I'd sure would love to get feedback of people who are out in the field with this. And the other part would be just recording. We talked about some recording methods, and I definitely won't be able to get everything done this summer, whether it's survey 1, 2, 3 or a paper form, but really starting to think about, is there sort of a standard form that would work for all of us in gathering data that are pretty equivalent across our stewardship group, if I'm using the appropriate term now rather than citizen science working group.
Megan Jacqueline has offered to try out the key. Jay, I'm wondering if you need people with some experience at this point, because you're not really in a position to completely train yet, and you're looking for where it doesn't work. So do you want people who have done this before?
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Kathy. I think really what I'm looking for here are some of your seasoned veterans, people that you can trust and give feedback, who have monitored nest sites in the past. I guess that's why I would say 5 to 10 volunteers, because I really think maybe you're some of your most trusted individuals. And I'm sure they will have input as they do it. That would be really helpful in trying to make this not only more, I don't know what the right word is, the right word is not accurate, but also how usable is it? And right now I'm still, it's a paper form for sure, but I sure would like to also, for people who are really tech savvy and want to use their cell phones, develop a survey 1, 2, 3 sort of way of recording for those people that would like to do that. But I'm just want to get something out as soon as possible, sort of just get this ball rolling. And I wouldn't say, Megan's comment we made up is most appropriate, but heck, why not give it a try, Megan, and see how it goes? Is one thing that I'm kind of also interested in training is seeing if you can have 2 volunteers go to the same lake and independently see if they can come up with the same conclusion. And so to see if there's a lot of inter-individual variation, I think would be very useful. So I wouldn't discount anyone. I'd be willing to take any and all volunteers, but to Kathy's point too, yeah, I'd really like to get some seasoned veterans in here to see what they get. I'm not really interested in this being a tool yet for us to really begin to assess nest failure. I'm just looking at how successful it is as a tool first, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's very helpful. I just put in 2 actions, contact you if you have the appropriate folks, and made a note that you are looking for tech savvy people who want to create a survey 123 survey, which is not me.
Well,
But-
I do have access. I think I have at my university, I have the ability to access survey 123. I don't know how far I can extend it in terms of all the volunteers, but I think I can create something that can be used. But I'll work on the paper sheet first before I work on survey 123.
Well, if you run into problems, let me know and I can contact my coworkers. We just got a new cloud source system for using survey 123 for larger mapping projects. But we're already working on one project that's not being paid for, so I don't know how much non-paid projects I want to send their way at the moment. Somebody has to pay for that cloud server, right? And Jillian, your hand is still up. We would love to hear from you. If you have something to share, feel free. And if you don't pop in, we'll just go on to talk about Nelswig if anybody wants to give an update on that.
Mark, would you want to start since you sort of
Popped in there.
represented all the groups?
Well, I think you and Jay and Natasha, I mean, many of us were there in person. Dana, who I saw there for a minute. I mean, I think this year's Nelswig was a quite a good meeting. It was held in person at the Loon Preservation Committee in central New Hampshire, where John is sitting at the moment in his office. And correct me if I'm wrong, we had something, it was 2 days. And we had something on the order of what, 35 people there in person. And then I don't know what the final count for online was, but I saw numbers varying 40, 50, 60 for virtual participation from talk to talk and day to day. And if anybody would like the agenda for that or anything else, let any of us know and we can post it. I think that we had a wonderful mix of presentations between the hard science and the community science and sort of planning for the future. It was, just a really good chance to meet other people who are doing the same crazy stuff that we all love to do and think about what's working and what's not working and how we can do it better. I was really pleased that we had a couple of people like Jay and Natasha who were able to physically attend from a distance, which was a real treat, I think, for all of us here in the Northeast. Thank you for taking the time to do that. We were talking toward the end of the Nelswig meeting about where should next year's meeting be, because there's been some discussion about, well, we should move it around. We should have it different places in the Northeast. And after much discussion, we came back to the same place. So it will be next March. I believe the dates are the 14th and the 15th, the Thursday and a Friday, at LPC in New Hampshire again. So you can get that on your calendars now. And think about, if you'd like to attend, if you'd like to present, anything of that nature. John, Jay, Natasha, Dana, anything you want to say on that? I mean, I could share screen and pull up the agenda if we wanted to talk about it. I'm not sure how much detail people want.
Does anybody know if the meetings were recorded, or was it not recorded because it was mixed?
They were recorded, Kathy, and they were streamed. You could attend remotely, as Mark mentioned, but then I'll just say on Caroline's behalf that processing the videos of the 8 hours is time consuming for the computer to just churn through to get them ready to upload to YouTube. So I think Caroline was anticipating being able to post them to YouTube in another week or two. It was taking a day or more of processing time just to get the video ready from each day. So they're coming, but they're not, I don't think they're posted yet.
But they will be posted to the website.
It'll be on our Loon Preservation Committee YouTube channel. which is a public channel, and Caroline may need to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the videos of NELSWIG may only be available if you have the link they won't be posted like to the World Wide Web. They'll just be viewable if you have the link to that private YouTube channel, but I'm not sure on that. So if you're a NELSWIG attendee or you have an interest, you can check with Caroline in another week or two.
But John, as far as we know, there shouldn't be any hesitation with sharing the links with all the people in these working groups.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Oh, I would echo your thanks to folks who came from afar. It was great to have everybody here.
Yeah. I mean, one of the advantages of the virtual, of course, is we could bring in some people, like Doug Tozier from Canada could participate. We'd love to have, Doug and Rob Alvo and Kathy and all our Canadian friends down in person, but I know that that's not always easy. So this was pretty good. I think it worked out pretty well. And speaking of Doug and the working groups, one of the things that we did is we sort of had a brief review session of what the working groups are. I presented the overview, and then Jay and Doug and I talked specifically about each of the separate working groups, and basically invited everybody else to come and join those. I think from the point of view of the rescue and rehab, I think we've had 3 people sign up from that so far. I don't know if we've had any others on the other working groups yet.
Yeah, I guess I could add a couple things real quick. One of the things I thought of when I was there is sort of selfishly for our working group. You had some really interesting presentations and discussions from a number of people in the audience. Eric Hansen comes to mind with respect to his history of putting out Nest platforms and the success that he's had. It'd be great if we can tag him to come back to these meetings and perhaps lead a discussion on that. Lee Addix from Maine initiated a wonderful conversation about the problem of loons actually harassing fishermen or anglers, and how we might best try to communicate with anglers through maybe either some type of outreach program or perhaps through publication regarding that type of conflict and interaction. Caroline, and the work that LPC has done so many wonderful things with respect to publicity. Part of me says that we should grab her and John to talk really quick about some things that have been so successful for their group. And then I was thinking, and I'm glad Jen Denny's still here, but Jen Denny's work with respect to training volunteers and retaining volunteers and gaining accuracy with respect to data. I think those would all make for great sort of discussions for some of our future meetings. So for me, I looked at it as sort of I'm going to see if we can pilfer these people and to give presentations over the next couple of months, because these are questions that I think we should think about and have discussions, if not action, for. I don't know. Am I saying that okay, everybody that was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of very interesting talks. I wish I could have. I'm in the middle of Owl and Marsh mail out, so I wasn't able to completely attend, but I found what I was able to attend very interesting.
Yeah, I was just gonna pull up my screen and share the agenda, just so can everybody see that? So there's day 1. And as you can see, Harry Vogel put together the agenda, and he managed to cram a tremendous amount into the 2 days. It was a challenge, certainly. And then this is day 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, Mark, now that you brought that up, Eric Hansen also talked about fireworks, and
Yes.
not necessarily direct injuries as we were discussing, but or maybe in the other working group actually, but you know, the proper place to set off fireworks, and do they really interrupt, or do they really have an impact on loons? That was
Right.
kind of interesting.
And so I think, you know, one of the things that you're pointing at there, Jay, and I think looking at the agenda is, you know, we have put together, or Natasha has put together this wonderful fact sheet on helping protect loons. And I think there may be a whole series of other kinds of informational things that we want to do, either with this working group or the rescue and rehab working group, because it's clear, whether it's with fireworks or with anglers or with some of these other issues, that there is the potential for lots of conflict between loons and people who want to use the lakes. And I think anything we can do to educate people, lower the emotional impact of some of these kinds of things. I'm hopeful that it's easier to change human behavior than loon behavior, but I'm not always so sure about that. But yeah, lots to work on.
All right. If anybody wants to think about those ideas of discussions and presentations and come back with some suggestions, feel free. There's lots of good options there. We just have to make sure what's the best time for the group. Like, I don't know how many of us are going to want really important talks during the field season. Yeah. So we should move on because both Mark and I have more meetings tonight. Working group web pages. I don't think we've gotten anywhere with that, have we, Mark? That's just a suggestion you put out there and it hasn't really developed yet, has it?
No, I think people are still thinking about what we might be able to do. And, you know, it's somewhat akin to what John was saying about LPC and what they're going to do with the recordings. You know, since we've got an institution here at LPC that, you know, went to the trouble of holding the meeting and doing the recordings and things, there already is a wonderful website that, you know, the LPC folks have put together and with their YouTube channel where it makes sense for those things to live. And so I guess that's one of my questions on any of these web materials is do we need to have our own working group websites, or should we just facilitate places like LPC or the National Loon Center or Bird Studies Canada to put more of these things on their sites?
I do not have a good answer for you. I keep looking at the workloads of everyone when I see that.
Yeah.
Doug and I had an interesting conversation the other day about the fact that I'm not so sure if the American Embassy in Canada or the Canadian Embassy in the US, but there is one of the embassies have a funding pool where you can do environmental, there's funding available to get working groups together across the border. And I thought that was quite intriguing. If anybody wants to look it up.
Canadians, but I don't know.
I don't know. I just thought that was quite interesting.
Huh.
So there's food for thought, because that might be a pool for money for something like that, or to at least get us together. Or I don't quite understand money just for meetings across borders, but okay.
I'm wondering if that, and I only know enough about this to be dangerous. You know about the Trilateral Commission between the US, Canada, and Mexico to discuss a whole lot of socio-political, environmental things. It's been around for 30 years or something like that. But they actively involve, in fact, there was a conversation earlier today that I was involved with where they were talking about conservation science programs for migratory birds in the hemisphere. And they were saying the Trilateral Commission has their own working groups to try and figure out, you know, if you were studying, for instance, let's take contaminants in loons. Well, no, there aren't many loons in Mexico, although they do winter in Baja, in the Sea of Cortez there. But the Trilateral Commission apparently has committees to talk about how one encourages scientific collaboration among the three countries. And so I'm wondering.
I think we're on some of those committees, but this particular pool would not fund research.
Okay.
Only talking to each other. But that's just something.
Can I add something about the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm currently manage the Adirondack Center for Loon Conservation's website, and did it for a previous organization I worked for. And it's really not hard to maintain a website, but there's a lot of work up front getting it established. And I had one thought that was along with what Mark was saying, was that between LPC and the other loon conservation organizations, that work has already been done. It's a lot of work to get it set up. So we might want to consistently just agree, hey, we're going to share things with each other when we think that it's something cool that should be added to your website as well. Alternately, if we did have a funding source that was for non-research, we could possibly have somebody design a website. It might be one of these groups that would be willing to work under a grant or something to put together a website.
Yeah. Yeah, the only hesitation, I like your idea, but my only hesitation about something with grant funding like that is grants are finite. You know, it's going to run 3 years, or if you're lucky, 5 years, and then it's like, now what? Whereas I would like to think that most of our existing programs, the Adirondacks and New Hampshire and so on, are much longer lived than that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that it's probably great that we just agree to, you know, if we have some cool website resource, a really great video, a really good fact sheet, maybe we just share it among each other and say, hey, you should put this on your website.
Yeah. See, that's why I like what Natasha did with the fact sheet. You know, it's something where we worked as a group to come up with common directions and photographs and everything else. And she just left little blank spots where we can all put our logos and feel happy with us. But we got the same message. And I love that commonality and continuity of message.
Mark, what about the dead birds?
What about the oh, did you see my t-shirt, Dana?
No, I can't.
No, well, I'm not wearing it today, but I have a dead Loons t-shirt. But anyway.
I'm sure it'll be very popular, Mark. People
yeah.
ripping it off your back.
Yeah, we'll sell them in the LPC gift shop, right? Right.
Did Natasha and the ABC person work more on that iNaturalist idea? I mean, can we feed that out to the bird watchers, is what I'm saying. Is that ready to go out to bird watchers to get them to photograph and document?
I mean, I have an opinion, but Natasha, do you want to respond to that? Should we encourage people to use the iNaturalist site at this point?
Yeah, people could already submit observations to iNaturalist because there's still, in terms of the project, finalizing some things, but we're able to upload any observations that are already on iNaturalist once you have the parameter set. So even if you're not putting it directly in the project, we can reach those observations. So it would still, people can definitely upload things now if they find beached birds, especially loons.
What I think Dana may be referring to, Dana's very active in a number of ornithologic groups, including the Nuttall Ornithologic Club. And so Dana, you're thinking maybe some postings on some, like, you know, Mass Birders website or Maine Birders website, and just say to this large group of people, here's this site, use it, put your observations up.
It's amazing that many states have a website that people can report any sightings that they have of live birds.
Right.
But there was someone on the Mass website that was criticizing someone else who was trying to put some dead birds on eBird, saying that that wasn't the appropriate place. And I then chimed in and said, well, Natasha and you know, working on that, and Mark's fortunately stepped in, and I those are just bottomless pits of people who read those daily in terms of trying to find out what's happening. In spring is such a perfect time now with everyone getting geared up with spring arrivals, certainly most of us in the northern part of the country. And I think that it would be a very productive thing if we crafted a message that we could put out to each of those state websites that and get them to report to Natasha. I'm going to call it yours, but that may be wrong, but Natasha's iNaturalist idea.
So should that be a goal, Natasha? Should, and I'm not sure, that we want to point this at you directly, but, should you and C and maybe a couple of other people put together, just like a little paragraph that could go up on some of these birder websites?
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be very happy to work with you too. Once you get the message, I'd be very happy to work with you on how we can disseminate it and encourage it to be utilized.
Well, and you're right, this stuff happens all the time. For the next working group, I'm gonna show them a quiz question. About 10 minutes before our meeting started, I had somebody send me a picture of a pretty rotten beach bird from California that was misidentified as a loon. So we'll see. We'll try it with the next group and see if they can tell what it is. Kathy, I can't hear you.
Natasha, that's the project that's just called Dead Birds, right?
No, it's beach birds.
Yeah.
Dead Birds is a different project.
Okay.
But
I will.
I think Natasha says you can integrate the findings.
Yeah, they would show up in both. I can put the link
Okay.
to the
I don't think I can remove mine. Oh, I can
project.
remove mine.
Okay, there's the project link.
Okay.
So I've got an action there that Nasha to share some text on iNaturalist project on beach birds with group. All right. Cool. So I think we've got the Nelswig stuff covered. Upcoming conferences. What do we got left here for timelines? We got a little over 5 minutes, a little over half an hour. I just wanted to mention that Birds Canada will be at the Birds and Bridges conference. We're actually holding a symposia on volunteer-based science.
Nice.
And there will involve a talk by the postdoc, whose name is yet to be named, about leveraging the Canadian Lakes Loon Survey to uncover drivers of declining common loon survival and productivity. And I am also giving a talk on lessons learned by being a volunteer manager for way too long, and we're not going to go over how long that has been. I don't know if there's other conferences that anybody wants to share on.
Did you wash the dishes? Can't wash the dishes, it's absolutely full.
Put those
Where-
things that are on the same.
I'll do the rest.
Sorry. I'll mute myself.
So anybody have anything to add?
I don't think I know of any other ones at the moment.
Okay. Right. Wow. We're actually done the list. We're done to housekeeping, which is future meeting dates are April 24th and May 29th. So we have plenty of time to chat. If people want to chat, or we can leave early. Leave early for us.
I have a very quick updated version of the logo.
Oh,
I
cool.
will share my screen.
You're so good at multitasking.
Tried somewhat, so
Yeah.
very
Mm-hmm.
just first attempt at making the nostril a little bit
Okay.
more
We're gonna have to- we're gonna
narrow.
get some photographs or something for you, or I've got a loon skull out in the garage, but yeah.
Very good. We'll try to narrow it, but keep it in the same style of the rest of the
Yeah, I think keeping the same style is exactly right. Yeah.
yeah.
Which program do you use, Natasha? I'm just curious.
I use Canva, so it's definitely amateur stuff, but it seems to work.
Oh, you can't go wrong with Canva.
Yeah.
If anybody ever wants to do Loon graphics and they want a nice, quick program to use online or any kind of graphics, Canva's ready to go. They even have a video editor now that I've been using lately.
Huh.
So
Yes.
I'm just wondering, were we going to have the name of the group be Common Loon? Because we have people from all over, we have people on the Pacific and BC. It might not be common.
Maybe it's just Loon. I mean, certainly, you know, when, as you say, some of our Alaska people or Becky Dewar from California have been here, they see a lot of red throats and Pacifics and, you know, other species.
Maybe we have to go back to Loon Diver.
Sure. So we don't forget the Europeans. Yep. Loon/diver.
Yeah. Could be Loon/diver working groups on the top, and then the names on the bottom of the specific working groups, like here for stewardship. I could work.
Sure.
Yeah, and then try to add some sort of pizzazz element next to the name of the working group, but that'll, I don't know, try to edit more probably. First draft.
Oh, you get too much fancy stuff, especially thin lines. It doesn't
Yeah,
transfer to other documents as well.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
We could, let's see.
Okay, cool. Anybody else wants to share?
No, I'm just looking through the agenda to see if there's anything else. One thing I would mention, and Jay, you can chime in on this. I see under F there, and Kathy, where you're talking about upcoming meetings. Next October is the Waterbirds meeting, which is going to be in Florida. And I don't have the exact dates, but it's something like I don't know, the 10th through the 13th or something like that. First of all, it's a great meeting, but secondly, the AMBC group, the Atlantic Marine Bird Collaborative Group, is going to have their own meeting as part of the Waterbirds meeting. And that AMBC group also ties into the Loons. I'm involved with that. Natasha and her iNaturalist app have been working with the AMBC folks. So there's some distinct tie-ins to what's going to be going on with the Waterbirds group next October and all of our Loon work. And I think for anybody who might want to present a paper or a session, I think they're still looking for stuff for the Waterbird Society meeting. So if anybody would like to do some Loon talks and get away to Florida in October, it's going to be a great meeting.
I'm sorry, I'm just typing. So I don't multitask as well as Natasha. Yeah, I think we are good. October 9th to 13th. I just dropped the notes in the chat, but I'll also send this around in the next couple of days to everybody so that they have it. I apologize for being behind on putting the recordings up. I'm actually getting a little nervous about posting the recordings because my Gmail account is I'm getting close to that limit for the Gmail account.
Ooh.
So yeah, I use it a lot. So so that's making me a little nervous, but I will try to get those up to date and online as well. And if anybody wants to take the lead on planning the next meeting, feel free to speak up. I don't mind being in the background at all. Okay.
Good.
I mean, if you want me to do it, Kathy, you've done it for the last 2 times. I'm glad to take it over in April if you'd like.
I'm putting it down, Jay.
Okay. Well, I'll have to talk to you
Okay.
about agendas.
Yeah, well, all I do is I copy and paste the one from the previous meeting into the next month and
Yeah.
adjust it.
And I was going to say
So-
too, the Zoom link probably would be useful, but I don't mind.
The Zoom link is the same on all the
Posting it.
meetings. Yeah, in case you guys haven't figured that one out, it's the same. I think you have to tell it how many months you want, and I think I usually give it a good year on that Zoom link. It works quite well that way. It's nice not having to search for it every time.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I promise to stay available until like October when I go AWOL again.
Thank you, Kathy.
So I guess that's it, folks. Thank you for a great meeting. Go ahead and send ideas or just add them to next month's agenda. I'll get that set up as well. And we'll see you guys all in a month.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye,
Kathy.
all.
Good to
Thanks.
see all of you. Take
Thank
care.
you.